get him into the fold as quickly as you did, and then what do you foresee
Hmm.
his impact on the program right away?
Yeah, we thought it was imperative to get that done quickly. You think about all the stuff that's been going on the last 2 weeks with quarterbacks. It's kind of been crazy to see, particularly some of the guys that jumped into portal as starters, and then other players that have played a lot of football. And what we loved about him was the fact that he was young. He hasn't played a lot of football. Um, but he did play the last half of the season, started and did some really really good things. We like the fact that he's a big player. He's 6'3", 230. He brings great size. So in the pocket, guys that are trying to push the pocket or even maybe getting a hand on it, he's not easily swayed in the pocket. He's going to be able to stand strong in that pocket and still make those throws that you have to make down the field. And sometimes you're getting hit, and he showed that on film. He also at that size, he also showed the ability to get out of trouble and also to run the football. And he's not a runner. That's like a Cunningham that we had at Louisville that can really fly, but he's a powerful runner that is able to get first downs and touchdowns, and he showed that as well. And then the fact that he does have years, I think, was huge for us because of what you put the time and effort and you put into somebody in the spring and summer and the fall. You like to be able to get that back a little bit more too. And so I think for all that, and then I think for him, it's just about coming in here competing with the other guys that we have with Belikti and Drogosh and Samaj. I mean, all these guys are going to be competing this spring. I think, man, it's going to be a fun room to watch.
What was your message to the guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, I mean, number one, we get in here last year, get hired about this time, and it's hard to put together a class because you just got here, you're trying to build your staff out, you don't have a recruiting department, I mean, all those things, and so this is our first true class when you think about having a full year to put this class together and to get the kind of players that we feel are going to come here and help us compete for championships, and so you know that's the thing that you're selling. That we're putting together a great class. We got some really good transfers that come in to help. We're keeping the core unit of our team on this past team that did some great things, some great leaders. And so you put all that together, then it gives you a great opportunity, and a great chance. And I do think that there were some games, we all know this last year, where it could have went either way, probably about 4 or 5 games, and we didn't get it done. And I think part of that, which we've talked a lot about, is discipline and the character piece and all those type things. And I think we're addressed that with these guys, and that's what we sold to these guys is that hey, you're the kind of guys that are coming in here to join with our guys here that have great character, that want to work hard, that want to do all those things right to help get us to where we're very competitive. And we're winning Big 12 games, and so they wanted to be a part of that. And and again, we're so excited that they wanted to be a part of that and to be able to join our program.
Several staffers that were at Ohio State, so obviously they have now hired. So safe to assume those are guys you're going to look to play right
Hmm.
away.
Yeah, I think prior is a guy who had an injury 2 years ago. Really came back this year and was healthy. But I think it's the second year after an injury like that is when you really can excel. You're back to your old self. If you go back and watch Evans' high school stuff, it's tremendous. He's one of the best backs in the country coming out. So I think he'll be a great addition, to go along with Corey. Corey's that bruiser. He's going to get you tough yards and really, grind out those first downs. And I think he's another guy. Evans, a guy who can catch the ball in the backfield really, really well, but also gives you a little bit more shiftiness. And so, to me, they're a great 1-2 punch. And so he'll certainly be a guy that will anticipate getting right in the mix. Kai Stokes is a guy who's an exceptional athlete. I think Coach Nico, who was there, speaks very, very highly of him. And when he came in on his visit, I mean, I don't know. I was trying to tell my wife of how pleasant he was to be around. An outstanding young man, and that's what you want to be having in your locker room. Yeah, he's 6'1", 200 pounds that can run and jump, but also a great person. And so we're excited about him. Certainly, we need help in the secondary. And that's one of the reasons why he wanted to come be a part of this is because he's got opportunity. Opportunity to come and have great significance right from the start.
The long snapper is the only transfer brought in with 1 year of eligibility. Is that something that's important to you? If we're going to go into the portal,
Mhm.
we want to do our best to make sure um, we're going to have these guys for a little while.
Yeah, I mean that's what we wanted. As we targeted all these guys. Again, what I mentioned earlier. What you're putting into them in the summer and spring and in the fall, we're going to get back at least another year for most of these guys. And I think that's a great way to see how you can continue to grow your program. What it does, it also gives you so for next year when we go sign another high school class, you're able to continue to sign high school players and develop them from freshman year on, and you don't have to go get 20, 25 transfers every year. And I think to be able to have these guys back for multiple years helps ensure that.
Defensively, at times you guys struggle.
Mhm.
Can you describe what Michael off the edge?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Gums is a guy who's, to me, his best football is certainly ahead of him. He was a guy who just started D line last year, but has great twitch and speed and length coming off the edge. I think he's got a huge upside. He has a motor too. Now he doesn't stop. He's one of these guys that's going to chase the ball every day at practice and obviously in the games that's going to be awesome to be able to have. And I really like the length on that. And we needed to have some more of that. We needed to have some more of the length with the speed. And I think we addressed that in both these players. I mean, Coleman's 6'5". I think maybe 255 when he weighed in on his visit. Again, size, speed, coming off the edge. One of the things that we wanted to have, and got players like this is going to help guys like Corleone. And help free those guys up a little bit more so we can get more pressure on the quarterback.
Offensive line in the portal is maybe as difficult or more difficult than even quarterback that you've talked about. Is that why it's so important to go and find an Aiden Pastores, a Zach Clark, guys with that requisite size? Maybe you need to put a little bit more weight
Yeah.
on them, but
Yeah.
you have to develop tackle instead of trying to buy it.
You do because in the portal, number one, there's not as many linemen that go in, and if they do go in, particularly if they have some years, then they're sought after. And I think to being able to homegrown your offensive line because it is a developmental position. Everybody knows that. You got guys. We're taking guys with some great length right there. Bring them in. Let Coach Nico and his staff go to work. Put the great weight, great size that they need to have in order to compete at a high level. But those guys have huge potential. When you think about 6'7", 6'6", I mean, these are, good guys with good length that to be able to tackle. Tackle is probably one of the hardest positions to recruit in football and to get quality young men. And these guys, I think they have tenacity. They get after it. They can move. But you mentioned it. We'll put the weight on them. I mean, they got a great frames to be able to put the weight on there, and we're hoping they'll develop into should be being our starting tackles for years to come.
You look at the expansion of the playoff from 4 teams to 12 teams going into this season. You notice that as your staff notice that at all helping mid-power conference schools like UC trying to build their way up? Is that helping you guys at all? Are you noticing that, or is it still kind of too early to tell?
Well, I mean, I think it's still a little too early to tell because we haven't done it yet, But I think we all know in the back of our minds, all right, there's going to be more opportunity and more chances to get into that final 12 to be able to play for it all, and which I think is a great thing. I think it's for a lot more schools now, it's not just the 4 schools or at the end, 4 or 5 guys fighting for those 4 spots, and now there's teams that are going to be able. You can stump your toe once, maybe even twice, and still be in that final group in 12. And so, but I love the opportunity that it gives all the programs in a program like ours to be able. If you have a special year, then you're going to have a great opportunity to go in that final 12. And that's going to be exciting to see.
Star position's been a big deal for you guys. Tell me about the
Mhm.
stuff that they're working with.
Yeah, Sinks is number one a great leader. He's a great leader in his high school and went to an outstanding high school, very competitive school there. And he is one of the guys in the backfield that can make all the calls. He can direct people. Very smart football player. Has good size. Not as much length maybe as some of these other DBs that we have, but he brings a very physical presence, and he'll stick his head in there and make some great tackles. But I love his leadership, and I love his the way he handles himself on a daily basis. And I think certainly he'll be that guy that can stop the run, but also defend the pass at that star position.